So, Ring of Honor debuted a brand new-ish show recently, and I'm only just learning about it now. Still taking place in the very same venue as every ROH show since the pandemic era of pro wrestling, and still being one of the only big name promotions left that have absolutely no crowd and no crowd noise effect whatsoever, which I'd strongly argue is to their benefit. Women's Division Wednesday is a fresh take on their old Women of Honor show concept. Only this time around, we don't have that atrocious diva-esque branding to the women anymore, and instead now we do have what looks to be a much larger focus on the wrestling, as we have with everything else in Ring of Honor these days. I can't say that I haven't been happier with the new direction that ROH has gone in recently, with more of their focus being on pure wrestling and delivering that sports-like presentation so well that it makes whatever the hell AEW's vision for a refreshing take on a sports-like presentation in wrestling look completely asinine in comparison. Through this pandemic, Ring of Honor as a promotion changed greatly and adapted to the new circumstances better than I'd go as far as to say even the likes of WWE has, Thunderdome and all. ROH is a lot tighter now. The production shot up in quality and the focus on what content they're putting out is seemingly stronger than ever as well. When it comes to the changes to their once unbearably awful women's division, I for one am beyond glad to have them seemingly be done with that Women of Honor concept, and believe that they're just better off treating their women as wrestlers as far as their branding goes. The quality of their women's division, though, as it stands, remains to be seen. Through this debut episode, we got to see a tag team match between Hyon and Lanie Luck taking on Roxy and the Impaler, in a match that ended in a 15-minute time limit draw and didn't exactly deliver the greatest match that I've ever seen, not even from the women's division matches of the past in ROH. But it did show off a lot more potential than I'm probably giving it credit for. Overall, WOH was oversaturated with awful women's wrestlers, women's wrestling, and storylines involving the women in some form or fashion that wasn't even close to good. I could do without the Maria Manic storyline with Bully Ray and the Beautiful People, and do more with matches like the one that was on this show. Hell, I could do without the Beautiful People in 2021 for that matter, especially considering how what they're doing now is just a rehash of their old, trashy gimmick from TNA only a decade after. And now that I mention it, what the hell were the heads of Ring of Honor thinking that debuting the Beautiful People at their first ever show, and likely last ever thanks to little storylines like that one, in Madison Square fucking Garden? If you need any example as to what the quality of their women's division was back in the Women of Honor days, there's probably the biggest one that you can come across. And no, the fucking Kelly Klein match with Mayu Iwatani wasn't a better example of that. Mayu should have had a far more talented women's division to work with, and the Women of Honor era should not have leaned on the far more talented Joshi wrestlers as much as they did. Their men's division shouldn't have leaned so heavily on New Japan's roster either, but at least the men's division were given the primary attention from whoever was making the decisions at ROH at the time, even if it was shoving all of that being the elite horseshit down your fucking throat, harder than, dare I say, even WWE did with Roman Reigns during the majority of Roman Reigns' reign at the top of WWE as a babyface, because at least now we have the head of the table, which for my money wipes the fucking floor with AEW right now. And I'm only really bringing this up to highlight issues that I've had with Ring of Honor over the years. I tuned into them for the first time back in 2017 under the impression that they were putting on far better shows than WWE was, making the mistake of listening to those very same fuck the Fed type fans that I've built up a tolerance to enough to know better than to take them by their word ever again. All ROH was at the time was what AEW is today, just without the billionaire. And I had hoped that when the Elite had moved out of ROH and started their own promotion, that maybe Ring of Honor as a whole would find a way to be tolerable, having lost their meal ticket that they seem to have banked on as hard as they did. It took them a while, but ROH in late 2020 to 2021 handily beats the ROH of 2017. I feel as if now they finally found their way to forging a much stronger identity for themselves and are currently making better efforts at reforging their women's division. Now I don't have a lot of hope for how that division will turn out, because I highly doubt that their division is going to be anywhere close to the quality of, say, an NXT, but I still have some hope left. And thankfully, shows like this one reinforce that hope, even if just a little bit.